Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dude with a Fork. My name is Ken. On today's episode of Ken Cook Stuff, I am showing you how I make the same kind of little meatballs that you get inside canned pasta products like SpaghettiOs. If you have kids or you want to enjoy these products without having to go to the store to buy them, this is how you do it. These are actually pretty doggone good, I think, and they keep well in the freezer, and you can just add them to whatever you want to make. So let's get started.
All right, so here are our ingredients to make our canned meatballs. We're going to start off with a pound of beef, and I think this is 85-15, or it might be 80-20. I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter. We don't need something super lean, but I have it in a really big bowl, so it's taking up a lot of space. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. Here I have half a cup of breadcrumbs and half a cup of milk. We're going to put those together in just a moment. I have half a cup of Parmesan cheese. I also have an egg, and these are supposed to be large eggs, and I looked in the box. They didn't look very large, so I just grabbed the largest one I could find. We need a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, half a teaspoon of salt, and yeah, just half a teaspoon because there's a lot of salt in the Parmesan, and then half a teaspoon of cracked black pepper. So our first step here is I'm going to move all of this out of the way, and we're going to combine this milk and the breadcrumbs. And this may seem like a huge amount of breadcrumbs going into this, but remember, these are supposed to emulate the meatballs that you get in canned Italian food products, and there is a lot of filler in them. That's part of what keeps them so tender. So I'm just going to stir that up. You can see the consistency. It is getting thick as I stir because those breadcrumbs are really absorbing the milk. This is what's called a panade. This actually, this concept of putting milk to bread and letting the bread soak it up does help keep things like meatballs and meatloaf nice and moist. And you can see how thick that's getting already. So this is actually looking good. And it, like I said, it is a lot, but we're trying to emulate something that comes in the can. So I'm going to go grab some gloves so we can mix all this stuff up, and we're going to start putting things together. Back in just a second. All right, so here's our pound of ground beef. I grabbed a glove because I don't normally use a glove for this, but I've got to get in here and mix things up, and your hands really are the best tools for this, but then I have to touch a camera, and I'm limited by how far my microphone will allow me to go. So first thing we're going to do is get our panade in here, which is our mixture of breadcrumbs and milk. And scrape all that out of the bowl. These little ramekins, by the way, I bought on clearance for like 99 cents a piece. And I got the last two that they had. I would have bought like 8 of them if they'd had them. So we're going to go in with our egg and our seasonings and our Parmesan cheese. And our goal is to get all of this really, really well mixed. So I do see a lot of people out there that will say something like you shouldn't overwork ground beef because it will be tough. And if it's something that you are going to cook in a relatively short amount of time, like a hamburger on the grill or a hamburger in a frying pan, then yes, that is true. You don't want to overwork your ground beef. But if it's something that you're going to cook slowly, like meatballs in the oven or meatloaf in the oven, then yeah, you do actually want to work it quite a bit. And this isn't going to take too long. You do want to work it quite a bit though, because you want to incorporate all of your ingredients really well. It looks nice and uniform. It's well mixed. This is perfect for our next step, which is actually forming the meatballs, and I'm going to show you how we do that as soon as we come back. I'm going to go clean up a little bit. All right, so I have our meatball mixture here. I've got a plate ready to put these meatballs in, and I'm going to show you what makes this work, and that's this. This is one of those cookie dough scoopers. This is the small size, and you don't need to use this. You could use whatever you use to grab a small amount of something. This works out really well though. These are kind of expensive. This is a KitchenAid one. These were like $18, and when I go shopping, I like to hit the clearance section first. And this was on clearance for $4. And this is the little one. It's about 1 3/4 inches across, so just over a couple of centimeters across. It's but it's great. Something like this is great for getting evenly sized meatballs. So what we're going to do is just go in here like this and scoop out a meatball. And if we were making ordinary meatballs for dinner, or to cook and make for like a football party or New Year's Eve party, oh my gosh, got so many good meatball slow cooker recipes. This is it. We would pretty much just say, okay, roll these up to make them a little round, and we'd be done. But what I'm going to do, and again, the best thing to do really is to just have a bowl of water as you work and keep your fingers wet. But I have to do this on camera, so I'm just going to grab a couple of pairs of gloves. And what we're going to do, instead of taking these and rolling them out like this, what we're going to do is actually take each one and break it in half so that each half is approximately equal. And then we're going to take each half, let me make some space here, we're going to take each half and break that in half so we have fourths. And these are about the size of a nickel, maybe? And some of them will be a little bit bigger and some of them will be a little bit smaller, but they're going to be fairly uniform because we started out by using this guy in the first place. So, and if any of them do look a little on the big side, we can trim a little off. But yeah, so we're going to end up doing this in 2 batches. So I am going to just go ahead and get a plate full because we are going to cook these in a pan that's about the same size. So when this plate is completely covered with little meatballs, then I know I've got enough to put in the pan and put them in the oven. And I should point out, before I started all of this, I did preheat my oven to 350 degrees. So these are going to cook for about half an hour. I'm also going to preheat a really heavy bottom pan as well. And I'm using a cast iron pan. And I will show you that as soon as I get all of these put together here. Okay, so here's our plate full of little tiny meatballs, and I've lost some bits here and there, but it'll all clean up. I'm going to go get my pan, which I actually have heated up. So you kind of want a hot pan the first time around because you're going to do this in 2 batches, and the second time the pan's going to be hot. So just to make things uniform, I'm going to heat up the pan the first time around. So I'll go get that pan, and we'll be right back. All right. Ouch. Okay, so this pan is pretty warm. You can actually see I've put about a tablespoon of oil in it. I actually had slightly more than a pound of ground beef, so I made myself a hamburger first. So we're just going to get these in this pan. It's cooled off a little bit because they're not sizzling as they're going in there, but it's still warm. They're going to cook fairly quickly. We don't want to get these to the point where they're touching, but they can be pretty close. So, and if they're soft, so they're real easy to get out around as you handle them. So I might, as I'm doing this, push them into more of a spherical shape as we go. And I'm grabbing the biggest ones first because the smallest ones, if there's any little bits of meat left on the plate, I can add those to those little tiny ones and make them, try to even out the size a little bit. Okay, so that's it. Here's our full pan of little mini meatballs. I could probably squeeze some more of those in there, but I'm going to call this good. I'm going to go put these in the oven for 15 minutes. Then I'm going to pull them out and flip them. And in the meantime, I'm going to finish filling this plate up with the rest of this. And I think I'm actually going to end up doing this in 3 batches. We'll find out. So see you in a little bit. Okay. There we go. And listen to that. Can you hear that? Can you hear that sizzle? Can you hear the sizzle? Can you hear what the rock is cooking? Well, can you hear what Ken is cooking? Today I am dude with a spoon. So these are done. I guarantee it. I know a lot of people are going to get upset on the internet because they're going to be like, well, you need to temp those with a thermometer. But these are so small that there is no way you are going to get a thermometer into the center of that and get a really accurate reading unless you have a super high quality thermometer. So I'm going to move this over to the side here. And what I'm going to do is just take a plate and make as much noise as I possibly can. And I'm just going to scoop these out with this spoon. And I have had this spoon for almost 30 years. So yeah, right around 30 years. And I see no reason to get rid of it. It is my good luck spoon. So I'm just going to use this slotted spoon here and get these guys out onto a plate so they can drain a little bit and see what we've got here. And this fat that's in the pan, I'm just going to leave in there so that I can put that second batch. This is some of the oil that I added, but this is also some of the fat that has rendered out of these meatballs. And I'm not going to get rid of this fat when it's done. I'm going to run it through a little strainer just to get some of the chunks out of it. And then I'm going to use it when I make roasted potatoes because it has a lot of flavor in there. So I think I can get this out of the way. And I'm so excited here. I just want to grab a couple of the big ones here and throw these guys on a plate and just bite into it. Made a little bit of a mess over there. So this is what they end up looking like. Well, this is what a passel of them ends up looking like. So like I said, these aren't terribly round, but you know what? You're going to throw these in some homemade SpaghettiOs or whatever, and you're just going to go, oh my gosh, those are so good, and you're not even going to notice that they're not even round. So yeah, so if you watch me cut into this with a fork. Okay, see that? Perfectly tender, and thoroughly cooked on the inside as well. So come on, well, I guess you're going to eat the whole thing here. So full of flavor. Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh, oh, these are so good. So, yes. And that's it, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching. Links to free printable copies of any recipes here are down below in the show notes. Please like, comment, or if you'd like to see more of this kind of material, subscribe. As always, please stay safe, eat great food, and power to the proletariat. We'll see you next time.